Selecting the hardware is the first step to get started on Proxmox. As I have already mentioned, hardware totally depends on your needs. If you are using it for your home lab for testing purpose or just a hobbyist like me, then you can go with a minimal hardware. I'll be right now installing it on the BeeLink, but if you are using for the business purpose or if you are using at your office or for the enterprise IT, then you must go for a proper server which should meet your specific needs. Storage, RAM, processing power, all of these will depend on how much load you are going to have on it. The server will definitely depend upon the guest machines that you are planning to have on this host machine. But I'll try to guide you in such a way that you will be able to deploy it on any environment. Now, as you have decided which hardware you must go for, now the next step is to go for the installation process. Installation process is same for all type of hardware. Let me show you step by step how to download, how to prepare bootable disk, and how to install Proxmox. This Proxmox virtual environment installation is for the beginners, whoever has never done the Proxmox installation before. In case you want to understand what is Proxmox, why you should go for it, I have also provided you a blog post link, and of course on the same blog I am also providing you the links. To get started with Proxmox, you can simply click here on the link which I have provided, or you can simply go here to proxmox.com/downloads. So all the download links will be provided to you here. The Proxmox latest release is VE 8.1, 1.29 GB is the total size. So you can see here, download link is here. So you'll simply come here, click on download. Now the ISO file will be downloaded and it will take some time depending upon your internet connection. So in my case, it is going to take 3 minutes. You need to make sure that you download only from the official website of Proxmox. Even if you are using link which is provided on other websites, make sure that the landing page is proxmox.com/downloads. So here my download has already completed. Now I need to prepare the bootable disk. I'll be using USB flash drive. These days, all the servers or all the hardware or all the mini PC do support the boot from the USB flash disk. So USB drive or USB flash disk can be used for preparing the bootable drive, and then you can start installing the operating system. So I'll first of all show you which software we are going to use. So we will be using BalenaEtcher to prepare the bootable flash media. So you'll simply search for BalenaEtcher. You can see here etcher.balena.io, and here you can download Etcher. If you are using Mac OS or Windows or Linux where you want to prepare the bootable USB. So right now I'm using Windows 11, so I'll be downloading it for Windows. I have both the versions here, BalenaEtcher Portable and BalenaEtcher Setup. If you install it, of course, it will be available on your computer. If you are frequently creating the bootable disks, then you must go for the installation. Otherwise, if you want to only use it when you need it, then you can go for the BalenaEtcher Portable. You can see here BalenaEtcher Windows Portable. So both the options are available here. So let me go here to BalenaEtcher Portable, right click on this and run as administrator. Here you go. So what we have to do, we have to flash from file, locate the file that you want to flash. Here is Proxmox VE 8.1.2. And now I need to provide the target disk location. My target disk is here, so I'll be simply inserting this disk into my laptop. All right, so here I have inserted, it has already detected. You have multiple flash disk or multiple disks into your computer, you can choose a specific disk. Otherwise, I'll be simply going here to flash. This process will take time depending upon the speed of your disk. It might take longer depending upon the type of disk that you have inserted. So we'll wait for this process to complete. First of all, it will flash the disk and then it will run the test. So let's wait for this process to complete. All right, you can see here it shows flash is completed successfully on one target. You will safely remove the USB flash disk. So what we'll do here, I'll go down here, click on this and eject the drive from here. And here is the USB flash disk. I'll be simply inserting it to the computer. I have already connected BeeLink mini PC, which is right now running. All right, so here is the BeeLink PC. Let me connect the keyboard and mouse also with this. And if I show you the disk management in that computer, this one is the SSD, which is 120 GB. So I'll be simply restarting this and then I will enter into the BIOS configuration. So here you can see press del to enter to setup. So I'll be entering into setup. Now you can see this is the BIOS configuration. BIOS configuration is only for you to understand how the hardware components are connected together. So what I need to make sure here is that my processor supports the virtualization. If I go here to advanced, on CPU configuration, you can see here the Intel virtualization technology is enabled. It means that we can use this as a hardware virtualization. We can install Proxmox on it and it will work fine. If this is not enabled, you need to enable it. This PC is having Intel Celeron processor 2 gigahertz, which is fine. You have to use your keyboard to move to the previous screen. Here you can see total memory is 16 GB. Speed is 2000 megahertz or 2 gigahertz with the processor Intel Celeron and 5101. So this is about the hardware. Then what we'll do, we'll tab to boot order, and here you can see in boot, first boot option is hard disk Windows. So I'll not be booting it from Windows now. Of course, Windows is pre-installed on this system and I have already added another hard disk which I'll be using for the Proxmox. So Proxmox installation will be done from the Lexar USB flash disk. So I'll be using this as my first boot order. So in order to install, of course, you need to change the boot order USB device UEFI. And option 2, I'll leave it to NVMe. Then you don't need to make any changes. You will simply go here to save and exit, save the changes and exit, and that's it. Now it has started and it is now asking us to install the Proxmox virtual environment. So you have three options here to install. One is the graphical user interface, one is the terminal UI where you'll be using command line, and third option is advanced. I'll be going with the graphical user interface to keep it simple for you so that if you are new also to Proxmox, you will not face difficulty to install Proxmox. So simply enter it here on Proxmox graphical user interface, and here now you can see it has loaded. This is end user license agreement. So somehow it doesn't display the entire screen here. And here when I have selected the hard disk, in hard disk you have these two options. One is the 512 GB which is internal disk, and another is the 120 GB which I installed the additional hard disk. Here you can go to options, and here it will be using the ext4 as the default file system. You can use XFS, ZFS if you are using multiple drives to do the installation. So I will then recommend you to use ZFS, and RAID 1, which I have already explained you if you are using multiple drives. So this will give you the fault tolerance. RAID 0 is for the performance. I'll be using ext4 for this tutorial. And here swap size, this will be the swap memory. So I'll be going for 8 GB of swap space, 8192 for the 8 GB. All of the other options I'll be keeping blank. Enter here. Now click next, choose the country, choose the time zone, choose the keyboard layout, and next. Here you need to provide the password for the root. Default user is root and password is whatever password you select, and provide your email address. So I have three network cards here. Two are the physical network cards and one is the wireless LAN card. So I'll be using this one, and here fully qualified domain name. This is of course how you are naming the devices on your network. So I have PVE, PVE2. So I'll be giving PVE3 to this Proxmox VE installation .syncbricks.com. And here the IP address, I have two networks running on my network. One is treated as external network, another is treated as internal network. So for one, I'm using class C 192.168.240.0, and another is 192.168.100.0. I'll be using 192.168.240.4, and here I'll be using the gateway 192.168.240.1, and here I need to provide the DNS. DNS can be your public DNS also, like 1.1.1.1, or it can be your internal DNS also, which is 192.168.240.6. I'm using as the internal DNS, where I have used Pi-hole, but I'll not be using that. I'll be using the gateway as the DNS server also. So next. Now it gives you the information. I'm okay with this configuration, and that's it. Now you can see here it has started creating the partition. At this moment, you don't need to do anything. It will automatically install complete Proxmox in your hardware. You don't need to do anything. Just wait for the last message to appear that installation is completed. Alright, so here we have successfully completed the installation. Remove the installation media. So what is next step? Next step is to reboot. Point your server browser to the selected IP and you have to browse 192.168.240.4 colon 8006, which is port 8006, and we'll simply click reboot. Keep pressing del to enter to the setup, and here I'll go back to boot. First of all, you need to choose the UEFI hard drive priorities. So I will prioritize the first boot order as Proxmox. So I'll be choosing here boot order number 1 will be Proxmox, and then second boot option UEFI OS SanDisk. And now I'll go here to save changes and exit. Yes. Now you'll see that Proxmox has started booting. And here we go. My Proxmox is ready right now. Now let's move to the next video and I'll explain you how to get started on Proxmox, how to do the basic configuration, and then we'll be moving to the advanced topics.